Hello everyone, welcome to Bonquisitive Take. So today we are gonna discuss something very interesting and something that I think it will be very useful to a lot of you, especially if you are developing with LLMs, that is large language models. So today let's talk about free LLMs, and what I want to show you is how you can exactly get to use free LLMs in a way that will enable you to do a lot of things. Okay. So first of all, uh, I want to remind you all of you guys that when I say there are technologies, there are tools available, but until and unless something is actually useful in your workflow or useful in a way that you can use it, there's no use of that tool, right? So it's as good as not being there. So first of all, LLMs have been shown to be useful in a lot of ways, a lot of different ways. But how we are exactly using it makes a lot of difference. And there are so many in the market. And when I say free LLMs, you might think, and actually, like all the providers now have come up with some kind of free tiers, right? So as you can see right now, I have a lot of tabs open. So like probably the first one was ChatGPT itself, which was by OpenAI. And even if you do not have a paid plan, pro plan, you can still use ChatGPT with some. There are some free tiers, free usages that you can have without the ChatGPT Plus as well. So same with say Claude or even Google Gemini. So these are the three big giants that have basically built a lot of LLMs and have made a lot of rounds in that. So Sonnet has come up and is one of the latest models. Gemini 2.5 Pro is also like something to be like it's very advanced in terms of what it can do, and it has its pro plans as well. And when I say about uh, completely open source, you might think about something like Quen or DeepSeek, right? So both are so apart from all these three giants, Quen is by Alibaba, which again you might know is a company of Chinese origin, which has also like done a lot of things and has published a lot of good models and open source them as well. And DeepSeek, the one which kind of dethrone everyone in a way, because not only they have built a free open source model, but they are on par with a few of the close models as well. So usually what happens, even if you do get a model freely, usually the performance is not so good. Say for example, Facebook or Meta started it, right? So they had the llama series of models which were very good, and it actually like started a lot of activity in the open source community. But llama, if you have used it, the previous llama versions, just so you know, this is what I'm talking about. Llama series of models. So these models were not as good as, say, GPT-4 or something by OpenAI or even Claude, right? So people, though there were like free models, but people were reluctant to use it. Now DeepSeek kind of changed the whole game, because not only they produced open source, but first of all, they have also released the weights. Like it's completely open source, so it's not only that you can use it freely. So obviously there are a subtle difference. There are some models which you can use freely, but it's not completely open source. And then there are models which are completely open source. You can do whatever you want with that, with those models. So so again, Llama did great, but DeepSeek has raised the bar a lot. But why I'm telling you this, because as I said at the initials, every big player has their own models to own free LLMs. They have basically their own free LLMs. But a major concern in a lot of these is privacy, because see, when I need to use Quen, I am basically using it in their own server. So this is one's own server, right? Same with DeepSeek. I can use DeepSeek, but it's their own server. Now, when you are using ChatGPT or Gemini or any of these models freely, basically the model is hosted by these companies in their servers. So if you are providing any kind of data, it's actually going to their server. Now, most of these companies, usually for the paid plans, they say that they won't use your data for training and stuff. You can opt out and everything. But usually that's for the paid plans. But for the free tier, they are not making any promises. So your data is basically being shared with these companies to kind of train their own model. You may or may not want it, right? This is a data privacy concern, I would say. So what's the solution for this? So you want to use some free LLM, but you do not want to share your data with anyone. So obviously, then what comes is use free LLM locally. That is in your own system, your own computer, in your own machine. And previously, most of these closed source models were so huge, you would need a lot of RAM, very good infrastructure in terms of the system to even run those models. But actually, nowadays, it has become so easy. And that's what I will show you today, that how you can actually run these LLMs locally first. Then I'll shift to something else, which is how to make use of them. Because it's okay, it's one thing to just use an LLM locally, but how does it help you? I'll try to showcase you. So this is basically two things bunched up in one video. Okay, and if you just want to jump to the sections, you can. I just I like talking a lot about other things as well while doing this kind of shoots. These are completely unscripted, and this is something that I just do. So anyway, you can jump cut to the sections where I'll do something. Anyway, the first thing that I wanted to showcase is Ollama. So Ollama is a way, or I would say like a platform. It's almost like Docker. If you don't know Docker, that's fine. But it's basically creates kind of an environment, or it's kind of a platform that enable you to run uh, all the free open source models. And you can, how do you basically do it? So you can go to ollama.com. You can see. I'll probably share the link in the description as well. So you can just go there and just download Ollama. It's available for Mac OS, Linux, and Windows as well. So you can just download Ollama. No big deal. I won't do it now because I already have it, and it's very easy. I don't want to just I don't want to spend much time on that. So if you are on Windows, so just a .exe file will be downloaded. Just double click on that .exe, and it will be installed in your machine. One quick note that I needed to kind of search for some time and browse and look for was Ollama is added in your path. And what do I mean by that is uh, so any system, any app that you use, if it is added to your path, system path, then you can access it from anywhere in your system. While there are some applications which, if installed in a specific location, then it can be used from that location only. So if you are a developer, you are well aware of this, right? So sometimes after installing some softwares, like say for example, even VS Code. VS Code is IDE where we basically write codes and stuff. Even that you have an option of adding VS Code to the path, to the system path, or add the path of VS Code to the system path, so that like it can be accessed from anywhere. Similarly, Ollama doesn't have to do anything explicitly, so it automatically is added to the path, so you can access Ollama from anywhere. So after you install it, you can access it from anywhere, and I'll show you like where once you have downloaded, and so basically the .exe file you get. If you're in Windows, just double click on it and it will be installed. Just go click, and nothing else. And after that, like I'll show you. Let me just open a terminal. So this is command prompt since I'm in Windows machine. So like if you have Ollama in your system, and if you just write Ollama in your terminal from any location, you should see something like this. Okay, so it just means like you it will just show you some like how to use it, what are the available commands and stuff, right? So it means that Ollama is already installed in your machine, and you should be able to get to this stage without any issues, because there's not many deviations, possible deviations. Okay, so this is where you should be first of all. After that, one small tidbit of information that I wanted to share is Ollama basically kind of downloads and help you run these large language models, right? Now it will be downloaded in your local system, obviously. To run it locally, it will be downloaded. So say for example, Ollama, as I said, it automatically the path it's added automatically, but it is basically installed in C drive if you are in Windows, and all the models that you will download that will also be basically added in C drive. You may or may not want that to happen. So so there's an easy way out basically. If you do not want the models to be in C drive and you want to basically save the models in somewhere else, what you can do is you just go to your Windows machine in the search bar. You write edit variables, system variables. So this edit the system environment variables. You can go to that option, environment variables. Let me just okay. So this dialog box that you have, I'll probably lock some part of it. Here you can add a new path. Okay, so you can add a new path, which will be like Ollama models, and so this has to be exactly same. The variable name has to be Ollama models, everything in caps, and there's an underscore between. And then you can provide some path wherever you want the models to be. You can just use that path here, and that's all. You just okay, okay, yeah. And why did we do this? Just to make sure that our models are not stored in C drive. Because usually, if you're a Windows user, the Windows is also installed in C drives. Some people just like it to be isolated. So they probably have their own hard disk or other storage where they want to store the models. Because the models may or may not be large. Okay. Depending on which models you want to use, it can be large. Now, okay, so you have Ollama installed in your machine, and you have also probably may or may not choose to specify where you want your models to be saved. Now, what's the next step? Next step is you just come here in the website ollama.com. As you can see, there's an option of Discord, GitHub, and models. Go to the models, and here you would see all the models, especially all the open source models that you can install in your system, right? So deepseek R1, as we were saying. So when you are using deepseek like this way, so here you can also use deepseek R1, right? But you're using it from web, and this is basically hosted in their server. So you might have saw this thing where a lot of people were very concerned because DeepSeek is I won't say funded by the government of China, but since it's China, it came from China. A lot of people were very apprehensive about it, and they did not wanted to use DeepSeek, even though it's like of a very good, like its performance is on par with some of the closed source models, that is like the proprietary models of OpenAI or Google, but still they didn't want to use it because you're basically using something made by China. But as I was saying, if you are using it, this application is hosted in obviously China, their server. So you are basically providing your data. If you are not so worried, you can use it. But if you are worried about the data that you are sharing, you can use it locally. And here's the way to do it. So Ollama will help you do that. But I don't want to use DeepSeek now. So let me choose a model which is like very small. And if you just click on it, you can see like, okay, all the different variants of the models. So this is the size of the models as well. You can look at the size and how much you want basically. So some of the better models are basically obviously very large. Like the original DeepSeek R1, 671 billion. It's like 404 GB. Obviously very large, and usually you do not run in a single system but rather in a cluster. But that's kind of out of our scope, right? And you can also read about how to install or run these models in your system. Let not go towards this. Let me try a smaller model. Let's say Gemma. So Gemma is again something from Google that comes from Google, and you can see like the 1 million version is just 815 MB. Is there anything smaller than that? Coin 3 was there, right? Coin 3 had a 0.6 billion. Yeah. So Coin 3 has a 0.6 billion. So I'm just showing you just one example of how to do it. It's 523 MB megabytes, as you can see. So, and you can just copy this tag. So this is called the tag, the model tag that you can use to install Coin 3 6 billion version. So obviously Coin 3 has this many versions, and usually the latest versions will be used if you do not use the whole tag. If you just write Coin 3, but we will do this. So we will copy this. And now what you can do, first of all, let us open the terminal once again. So you remember, right? You already installed Ollama and you saw something like this. And here also it shows run a model. To run a model, you just write run. So what do we do now? We write, let me actually close this so you can see it easily. Okay, you write Ollama run, and then what we copy it from there. Coin 3. So this is the whole tag, as I said. And once you run enter, you'll see like it's pulling the data, it's pulling the manifest files, and it is downloading in your own system. So as you can see, it's a small model, 522 megabytes, and so it's downloading in my local system. And once it's downloaded, I will be able to use this model locally without sending my data to anywhere. That's the whole point, that you are using something locally. Obviously, there's another added benefit is that it's very fast because it's local, right? Usually, what happens is whenever you do a request to those, if you are using those kind of chat applications, you basically send a request to that server, then the actual inference happens, and then the response basically comes in, right? So there are multiple steps involved, and there's obviously the data communication that happens as well. But since it's local, it's just the inference time and nothing else. So it will be much faster than an usual API request. Okay, now as you can see, it's already downloaded, and what it's telling me is send a message. So you can directly use Ollama from this terminal itself. Like say, for example, if I write something, say, let me ask, what is quantum computing? Just a random question. And if I see how fast it is, it's a thinking model. Okay, it was so fast, like even before I can tell anything, it completed the whole response. So as you can see, it's thought and it produces the thinking part as well, and then it produces the answer. Okay, so as you can see, it's in Markdown. I guess yeah, it's in Markdown. That's why you can see all these like heading symbols and all. And yeah, you can basically go on about is like other stuff like so I think it yeah, by the way, Ollama also preserve context. So if you see if you provide a question like show me some latest research papers. Obviously, it doesn't have the web search ability here. So when I say latest, it shouldn't understand, like it shouldn't pull like 5th June when I'm doing this. But the knowledge cutoff that this model has. But still, it should be able to understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, it understood what I'm talking about. I'm not interested in what was the actual date of these research papers because, as I said, like it's there obviously would be some knowledge cutoff when the model was trained, so it won't be able to pull data before after that. But what I was interested was the context. So it understand the context. When I say on this, it understood what I'm talking about. So what you see in the actual application, chat applications, it's already there. And some might actually think like, okay, this is something that we get. What's so special about it? But if you actually have developed a chatbot, and you can see one of my previous videos on making a chatbot using LLMs. So if you actually have ever used or ever built or developed a chatbot with LLMs, you would see like this is actually kind of a very big thing because otherwise you have to basically cache the responses somehow or put it into memory, append it somehow, but yeah, here the whole context is already preserved. So this is good. And just write slash by just to get out of this place. Okay. So this is how, and you can do it for any model. So by the way, just to see which models are loaded, you can do Ollama PS, which will show you like this particular model which we used, processor 100% GPU and everything 3 minutes from now. So PS, if you remember, if you have used Docker and stuff, it will show you all the active images or active containers, right? So the same concept here. And if you do Ollama list, it will also show you the same thing, but there's a small difference. So if you do Ollama list, it will also show you this, right? But what's the difference? The difference is once you stop this, once you stop this, and how you can stop, you can just write Ollama stop. I think it will. I think I already know the instructions, but anyway, Ollama stop, and then you just say that, and you see it stop. How do I? Because there's no error, right? And if I do Ollama PS now, it shouldn't show anything because I stopped it. Yeah, as you can see, it isn't showing anything. Whereas Ollama list is all the models that you have downloaded. So you can again start running it. So if I do Ollama list, it should still come. Yeah. So this is the difference between Ollama PS and Ollama list. PS just shows what is active or what is loaded, and the Ollama list is basically all the models that you have downloaded. Why? Because now if you want to run ONG again, you just write Ollama run, and it will not need to basically download it. As you can see now, it's directly starting. It can start getting the messages. Okay. So as it said, Control D or bar to exit. I've seen like if you do Control D, it's basically exit the process as well. Like it's both exit as well as like stopping that image. So now if I do Ollama, yes, oh, it's still there. Anyway, yeah, it sometimes it just automatically release it from the memory. By the way, this is something that also like affects your memory because if it is in there, if it is still active and loaded, it's basically eating up your memory. So be mindful of that. Okay. Anyway, so now we have done this. Now what? So we have seen how you can use some LLM, and it could be anything. Like I have shown 20 because it was like a small model to be downloaded, but any model that you can see over here, and you can see a lot of models by the way. Okay, so like there are vision, there are tools, thinking models, and you can see like all the models that are open source usually is here in this like Ollama models list, and anything you can download in your system. Yeah, it's huge. The whole list is huge. Anyway, but as I said in the beginning of our session, our tutorial is, I don't think any technology, until and unless it actually helps you in something, it is useful, right? So until it has to help you in some uh, first, there are obviously some advantages that you can get when you basically use LLMs in this way, where you get the data privacy part, where you are not sharing your data anywhere, and it can also work with multimodal images, multimodal thing as well. Like if you want to input an image, you can just directly provide the path of that image, and you can do any the questions and everything, the prompts, similar to what usually is done in any multimodal LLMs as well. So everything is possible. The thing is, you get the data privacy as well as the latency. That is, it's very fast. But those are usually not the biggest of advantages, I would say. Like obviously, it depends on the users. But the other use case that I find very interesting is Ollama. When you basically run a model, it also serves as an API as well. So it can be integrated into your own application. That is a huge thing. Say, for example, when I do Ollama run point 3, what it does, it not only creates this messaging and all this thing in our terminal, but it is basically available in an HTTP server as well. Okay, so it can be available. So if you have, say, for example, Postman, or if you have used Curl, you can actually connect to that particular endpoint and can have some chat completion as well. And why I'm saying that? Because now you can use that and integrate into applications. Your applications require an endpoint, an API endpoint, and that can also be achieved from Ollama. So it's not only just using it in terminal, but it can be used or integrated into existing application. And let me show you one very good use case for it. Okay, by the way, I want to show you something else as well. So now you see, I can't do any terminal thing. I have to probably open another terminal, but I do not want to do that. So how can I actually just like let the server run without occupying this terminal? Let me try that. So I can do that using another command called serve. So if I do Ollama serve, uh, does it not require anything? Okay, let me check one thing. So when we do Ollama run or Ollama serve, actually just write Ollama, it will give you all the help like this serve, right? Okay, you just write Ollama serve and nothing else. You start the Ollama server. Okay, got it. Yeah, we did set defined. Okay, anyway, we can write Ollama run and let it be started for now. Okay. Now, the thing that I wanted to showcase is let me create another terminal here. Let me go to say experiments. And now let me open VS Code. So VS Code is an IDE where you basically write codes and do a lot of other stuff as well. And if you see my VS Code, I am in a folder called experiments. And here I have GitHub Copilot installed as well. So you can also do that using the extensions. So VS Code, one of the cool things about VS Code is you get to have all these extensions that you can install in your VS Code. Okay. Before even writing, or let me actually please have some one Python file. Not sure whether to run it or not, but one thing that I can do here is with Copilot, I can probably connect with my models. So let's go to the manage models section, and I have already running Ollama, right? And once I clicked on Ollama, you can see like initially I had Llama 3.2, that's why it's here. Now Point 3.0, it automatically came. So just let me select this, and I have successfully registered Ollama models. What I'm doing now is this Copilot, GitHub Copilot, it already comes with few, like if you are already signed in, so you can get to have some free usage of GPT and Claude models. But if you have your own model, you can register that as well. And then it can work as like ask, edit, and agent. Basically, you might have heard about Cursor, which is like a complete agentic workflow, but in terms of code development. So VS Code can be kind of transferred or can be developed into Cursor or something similar or some probably better just by doing this. So GitHub Copilot doesn't is already a very, I would say, powerful tool because it lets you kind of integrate the power of LLM into VS Code. But not only that, obviously, if you use something that comes default by default, like the Claude models or the GPT models, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, GPT 4.1, and GPT 4.0. This comes by default, but you won't be able to use it much. And when I say you won't be able to use it much, is it because this is a free account. If you want to make like because Cursor is paid. Just remember that Cursor is a paid product, right? It also have a lot of limitation in terms of free usage. But VS Code, it's free, it's open source, and you can also install Copilot freely. And the same thing you can do with other extension like it's called Klein. And with all these applications, what I'm trying to say is Klein or GitHub Copilot, also let you integrate your own LLM, and it can behave like an agent as well. What's the use? Because now whatever you can do in cursor can also be done in VS Code with these things. Like say for example, if you want to run something and if you want to edit something, everything can be managed from here. Let me just show you just a very quick example. It's not a tutorial for say for VS Code or cursor, but just if you already familiar with it, I'm just letting you know that basically a VS Code can be made into a cursor like application once you basically integrate an LLM. And what we are integrating here, the Ollama that is running that we already have running, right? So this Ollama we already had. This is what we are integrating. So as you can see right now it's GPT 4.1. Let it change to the Ollama one that we already had. Okay, and write some tasks. Say for example, let me any you can write any task that you want for from application development to anything. But let me write some small Python script. Write Python script that can draw a number. Int and int characters. It's something very simple. Once I put enter, as you can see, it think what it needs to do. It's thinking a lot, and it got some error. Verify the function name. Could you please double check the function name you are trying to use? For example, if you are in random or Reddit, let me file SST accordingly. So basically, it's obviously the kind of model that you choose. It limits the kind of usage. But if you have probably used some bigger models, that way it will not only think, but it will also produce the code, and it will automatically be used in editing the code. Let me see if I can do it with some other models as well. I'm not sure. So the moral of the story that I wanted to talk about is obviously if you have used another powerful model that would have been able to actually do this, and let me try to do that instead, right? So let me, okay, how do you remove? That's a good thing that we can actually show is we just write Ollama RN, and if you do that and use the tag of the model, now it's deleted. So if you again try to see with Ollama list, you see this nothing, right? Now let me have a little bit better model. Ollama probably llama 20. Let's try llama and wait for a couple of minutes. I'll make this faster. Okay, as you can see, it's already installed, downloaded in my local machine, Llama 3.2, which is a slightly better model. Like if you see here, Llama 3.2 will be there. I think the 1 billion, yeah, the 1 billion one was installed, which is the 3 billion, which is the latest one, which is the 2 GB version. It was installed. So now this is a slightly better mode. Let me try what we tried again just to showcase the point. First of all, I need to check. I need to change this model. So just go to Ollama, and usually it automatically detects like which model from Ollama you have, right? So you can select there, you get a message notification like successfully registered Ollama model. And after that, still showing me GitHub. Anyway, uh, but yeah, it's very simple. It automatically did changes in my Python script, which was there. It's showing me like, okay, whether I want to keep this change or undo this change, or toggle diff as well. You can also like select keep from here. Like say for example, I did it, and you can obviously check. So here's the comment down here. So if I just run this, say Python app.py, it randomly picks a number between 1 and 20, and it basically prints that many keys. And you can also ask it to change it in a way that makes sense. So I'm basically giving you a very simple example, but the possibilities are endless because let's say you are trying to develop an algorithm or developing an application, a full-fledged application. It can edit in multiple scripts, and it can obviously take all the things that you have seen an LLM do, or something like a paid product like a cursor do. Everything you can do with VS Code. And how is it powered? It is not powered by some API key again for which you have to pay. You can power it by some very, I would say, like powerful models. Let's say like Llama 3.2, and there are much better models than Llama 3.2. Like I would say like DeepSeek V3 or DeepSeek R1. They are very large models. Use those. Not only large, but they are like the performance of these models are much better. So you can use those. You can run them locally, and you can connect them to any application. If you are building an application, you can directly connect it. I'm just showing one example of how you can integrate it in a useful, in a meaningful way, so that it becomes much more useful for you. So now, basically, that model is connected with GitHub Copilot or VS Code here, and you can write codes and or change your codes. Like let's say again, this we a random or yeah. So I just trying to make it a little bit complex again. And basically, what I'm trying to establish here is it can make changes. It can make changes to your progress directly, and it obviously asks you like whether you want to keep that change or you want to basically undo that change to the previous state. So now I have asked it to like, okay, can you edit this script to add a random word which would be repeated that many times as the number drawn, and it remember the context like which number drawn, which is what I'm talking about, is basically this number 1 to 20 randomly drawn. And instead of like you can see this in red, right? Previously we were just printing k that many times, but now it has a list of words like this. Let me actually keep this change. So now it has all these words that it has, a list of words, and then I am basically choosing one of the words randomly again, and you can see my point here, a random word. So that's why it's choosing a random word from here, and it is repeating that minimum number of times which was previously drawn. Like if I just show you anyway. So this is a very simple, fun example, but I am just trying to show you the possibilities. So first of all, what I showed you here is try to how to run LLMs locally using Ollama. So Ollama is a great tool to run models locally. Benefits: if you think about the benefits we talked. The first benefit, data privacy. So everything is happening in your own system. So there's nothing that is being shared, nothing being shared with anyone. Then latency. That is, it's much faster than using a application. So even Gemini, like for using Gemini, or you might be using the Gemini Pro website or ChatGPT or Claude, anything. So those are all applications at the end, and in the back end, it has to communicate with the server. The inference is coming there, and then only it can tell you the response, right? So there are a lot of data communication that happens, which is not the case here. So everything is local. So once it gets your request, or I would say get your input message, the output is inference very, very, very quick. So the latency is something is significantly faster. Now the other benefit, it's not a direct benefit, but Ollama also, wider expose be integrated. Right? This is why this is something that we learned is how to make VS Code, which is basically an IDE, uh, which is interactive development E for something. I forgot. Anyway, this is basically where you write. So even apart from VS Code, there's other IDEs like Python. You might use something like Atom or something like that, right? So how to make yes powerful, right? So this is also pretty interesting where we are basically we do not need a specific paid thing like cursor, but you can make your own cursor, right? So this is a paid product. It provides you with some free limits as well. You can search for cursor and you can see it. A lot of people, especially it has been very popular in Vive coding, so they use this a lot. But this is a paid product, right? And you basically made your free open source VS Code as powerful as cursor because of just how you are using Ollama and integrating it, right? So this is how you can do that. There are a lot of things that we covered, which also discussed a lot of other things in between. So hopefully it was somewhat educational for you. I hope to have taught you at least some things. But if you have any questions, please put them in comments and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. So thanks. We'll see you again. Bye bye.